Hi everyone, this video is just to go over how I created my 3 lesson plans for my learner. First off, the way that I started this out is I just wanted to make it as not easy as possible, but I just wanted to make it as a lesson that I could actually implement in the class that I have this student in. And so I wanted to make sure that it aligned as much as possible with what I could actually do with my kids. So first off, I have this student in my 6th hour, which is also my co-taught class. There are a lot of severe needs in this class as well. And so you'll see, or I accommodate a lot and I modify a lot for this class because almost none of them are on grade level. In fact, the majority of them are below 3rd grade level at this point. And so you'll see that here as well. What I've done this year with this class, because they are so low, I think less is more sometimes. And so I'm doing a lot of cross-curricular teaching with our social studies department. I'm working with them, and I'm also working with our science department because let's be honest, with some of this, it's kind of like drill and kill and trying to get them to hear it over and over and see it in the context that they need to see it. So that's also something that you'll see come through in this lesson plan. I also tried to align some of this with 7th grade standards as well, because even though they are so low, they do need exposure to some of the 7th grade standards so that they're not falling even further and further behind. So you will see that in these lessons. And then the last thing I wanted to mention about just kind of my parameters, that Newsela, the program that I used for this, is something that we've been told by the district that we need to use, and we also need to be having them produce some sort of writing afterwards. For this class, what we're really focusing on right now is summarizing a text, and so they've done this a few times before we've gotten to this point. So I wanted to let you guys know that. A couple of things about the vocab that I chose to have them do for these lessons. The first one is I know there's a lot of vocab words on the list, and I'm sure a lot of you guys noticed that, but I chose to use all of them because they need to know all of them for this assignment, and because a lot of these words they will get exposed to in other classes. So a lot of these words are actually going to be taught or they've already been taught in social studies. And so it's just about that repetition and getting that exposure and showing them that context. So I know it looks like a lot of words, but in reality, they will be learning it multiple different ways and in multiple different classes. So hopefully that eliminates some of the magnitude of it. And then the other thing I wanted to explain is that I chose not to have my student record the academic vocab words, even though we go over them a few times throughout each lesson. They should have already heard them or they will hear them frequently. So I didn't think that because of time, we needed to also record those words as well. Lastly, I wanted to mention that I did try to time out the lessons to kind of give you guys an idea based on this student and what I've seen from him so far. However, timing definitely fluctuates, and that's something that I've learned from this group this year, is that a student could be on the same level or grade level, but depending on their deficits, it could take one kid one lesson to get it done, and it could take another kid like 5 lessons to get it done. Not that they're not working, but they just have different speeds and different processing speeds when it comes to different skills. But in conclusion, to wrap this up, when thinking about my student, I wanted to focus on a couple of things that I've learned about him acquiring a second language. The first one is I wanted to focus on the context of the culture. So that's why we went through the 1950s and 1960s together, so that he would know in what context these words are being used. And then I also wanted to tap into his previous knowledge because maybe he does know something about these topics, and so that could really help him. And then kind of along the same lines, I wanted him to make connections between the words, between the vocab words, between the content and the ideas that we were learning about, And so I really wanted to focus on those three things for him.